at least.
Running through the darkness.
We have a really special treat for you guys.
It's very
tonight.
special.
It's like a little special, if you know what I mean. That was totally not PC at all. Anyway.
Wait, what? Oh, you mean like special needs? Like special ed?
Right, yeah, totally.
Is that what? Wait, why was it not? Why was it not PC?
Because I made a retarded person joke. Like special, like special. Anyway, we're gonna move on from that. We have a special treat for you guys
tonight. Can we use a different word?
We have a touched treat for you. Anyway, that's a bit of an inside joke. Someone we know. Anyway,
is a little touched.
We know lots of people who
are
a little
touched.
No, we have a friend who uses that phrase. It's funny. It's always funny when he says it. But anyway, no. We have a rare treat. How about that for you guys tonight? Ophelia and I have written our own short romance stories, and we're gonna read them to you guys. So if you,
we will preface this with the bit of information that we did not communicate well with each other about what kind of romances and what kind of level of seriousness they were supposed to be. So
listen, they're just different writing styles, okay?
No, because this is not indicative of my normal writing style. It's a satire. So we'll get to it.
It's a satire.
Well, wait until I get to yours because I didn't even read it yet, so we'll see.
Yeah, I did that on purpose.
Excuse me,
I literally
Mr.
told
Scorch,
you.
Why is okay? You gotta.
Why are you looking over here? Like,
because I wasn't on the screen both times that I looked over.
Because you're looking over here. Don't
So
look
you
at-
gotta cut to.
You don't need to be looking over. Look at the people don't want to see you looking off to the left.
Well,
Talk
then
to her.
I shouldn't have to worry about you cutting away from me all the time.
Don't.
So,
I'll cut to you when you talk. I'm producing.
excuse
over
me,
here.
no one should be talking. That's not on mic. Oh, by the way, Scorch, not enough vodka in this.
Well, you're tacky and I hate you.
Mean Girls is making
not Mean
a
Girls,
surge.
That's School of Rock.
Oh. Well, I haven't seen that. So.
You gotta watch more movies.
Do
Miss
I?
Nyx.
Do I?
Alright.
I read books.
So,
I read good books.
I like your Snapchat filter hat.
Ooh.
no, it's real.
Nice living embodiment of
It's
a Snapchat
real.
filter.
No, it's
You
real.
fuck.
This is what it's based off of.
Okay.
All right.
We're not indulging in insult comedy right now.
So,
Yes,
we're going to read each other's stories,
that's correct.
but we don't know who's going first.
No, that's right.
So
we
we're
don't.
going to ask the Peanut Gallery.
Yes, we have
Goblin
and Lord Blastula, Count Blastula. Sorry.
Count Blastula, Goblin, and Scorch.
Yes.
They're gonna vote on who's reading the first
Right.
story.
Yep.
I'm reading Nyx's story.
And I'm reading Ophelia's story.
Mhm.
So who?
Oh, and the titles.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So if Nyx's story, Ophelia's story is called A Midsummer Night's Scream, not Cream, Scream.
Nyx's story is called Decadence. Wait, I didn't get my mouth close enough to the mic.
You're still looking over.
Decadence.
I want to
how
look
was
at
that?
myself. I'm
Wait.
a megalomaniac. All right, what?
High five. High five for vanity. Why do you think we do this podcast? We just want to watch ourselves
Yeah,
later.
but you're not gonna look good to people.
That's
They're
why we
only
want
like-
to have the table
in the
facing
side.
this way so we can
I'm
watch
sorry.
ourselves the whole time.
Are you telling me that people don't want to look at this jawline?
Can we
Go fuck
Can
yourself.
we go back to the turntable so we can watch ourselves the whole time because I really like that.
Save it for the stories.
Oh, okay, fine.
What are our options again?
Goblin, we just said it. We're not going to say it again.
Ophelia wrote a story called A Midsummer Night's Scream, and Nyx wrote a story called Decadence.
Read hers first.
Read Ophelia's first?
Nyx, read Ophelia's first.
Okay. Well, we've got one vote for Ophelia's story going first.
Okay.
The Peanut Gallery has two more votes.
Count Fistula?
It's Blastula.
Not Fistula.
Count Blastula.
Like, not the right medical condition.
Wait, is Blastula a medical condition? Because that sounds
Yeah,
because
because his blast
is-
beats are so sick.
Lord of the Blast.
But coincidentally, it is also a medical condition.
What kind?
I'm going to have to look this up and see if Mrs.
I
Angimi
don't
posted
know,
about
but
it.
I hope it isn't
Ooh.
in the ass.
Oh yeah. Well, blasting in the ass is a different story.
Like
We haven't
you
written
did
about
that.
that
We
yet.
don't want to hear about ass blasting. I don't know whether I know it's
Brazilian
not in my
cake
story.
farts.
Oh, blasta.
If there's ass blasting in Decadence, I'm not going to be happy.
Mm-mm.
Some decadent ass blasting.
No ass blasting happening in Decadence.
Did you have a strong preference on which one goes first? I
So-
would say the horror flick first, and then the rom-com.
I'm just going to interrupt for a second and tell you everyone that a blastula is an animal embryo at the early stage of development when it is a hollow ball of cells.
Cool.
Oh, so you're a
So
hollow
you're
ball of cells.
embryonic.
All right,
You're
well,
the count
sounds
of all the
about right.
hollow
You're just
balls
a bunch
of
of
cells.
cells. There's no soul, right? Isn't that the argument?
Perfect. Okay, so we've got 2 votes for A Midsummer Night's Scream going first. So it doesn't really matter what Count Blastula wants. It sounds like you're
You're
gonna.
reading my story
I'm reading
first.
first. Okay.
Well, I don't care anyway. So
Oh,
you're gonna get
woo.
one vote, you know?
Whoa, he doesn't even care. Look at
So-
this edgelord over here.
Goblin did a few edits.
Yeah, I'm reading the
So,
the
just
edited. You
correct
can
the-
see the red
Red pen. So
pen.
just correct the tenses as you go because I didn't edit it at all.
I'll do my best. Carlsberg, you're gonna help me, right?
It's supposed to be in past tense.
Right, I know. Yeah, because
Okay.
it's anyway. A Midsummer Night's Scream by Ophelia Blackwater. My boyfriend Lucas and I decided to take an impromptu weekend camping trip. By the end of the day, we found ourselves 5 hours away in a remote forest reservation. Spontaneity pierced the dull cycle of my 9 to 5, and I rather enjoyed Lucas's company on our occasional long excursions. Lucas was a gorgeous specimen of a man, incredibly tall with light features and a perfect golden hue to his skin, a gift courtesy of the summer sun and an outdoor construction job. I felt the air rush past my cheeks. The chill of dusk briskly cooled the flush of laughter and lust that spread through my body. He aimed to slap my ass, and I gracefully danced along the forest path out of the way. I turned to him with a bright smile, giggled, and seductively squinted my eyes, lips puckered. I was too slow with my synthetic modesty in that moment, and he planted a quick kiss on my lips before moving in deeper with his tongue. I let it enter beyond my teeth and explore before he bit my lower lip on extraction. I felt a twinge of excitement flow from my gash to my breasts. I reached up for a loving embrace, and he pushed my wanting body against a tree. I tilted my head back in a moan and noticed the fading sunlight. I imagined what crepuscular creatures would be rising from slumber and wondered how far from our campsite we were. Lucas was certainly the superior navigator of our wanderings.
You're gonna have to mute my mic because I'm just gonna giggle and snort
No,
the
it's
whole
okay.
time.
Don't mute her mic. We want her reactions as I read her story. Babe, we don't have to wait until we're at the tent. Fuck me right here against this tree. Lucas spoke with his deep and masculine timbre, breath heavy with want, as pale blue eyes locked onto his prey, me. My tongue traced my lips, and I responded by tearing off my gauzy tank top. He immediately understood and snatched at my bra clasp and removed it in one swift motion. Bare-breasted in the middle of the nearly dark woods drove my pussy into intense wetness, and the burning lechery shortened my breath. I reached and grabbed onto his long, sandy locks and brought his head down to my nipples. They pebbled as he ran his tongue in circles around each one, respectively. Sorry.
No laughing.
You're right.
Chinese school has just begun. No more laughing.
No more laughing.
fun.
No more fun.
If you show your teeth or tongue, you will pay the penalty.
Oh, maybe I want to pay the penalty. Sorry. His hand danced down my leggings and forcefully shoved two strong, calloused fingers into my soaking wet pussy before he tore them down.
I don't know.
I
don't
reached
know
to
either.
return the favor and felt his throbbing cock through his pants. I quickly made for a removal and fell to my knees before him. I looked up at all 6'4" of him and back down to the 9 inches in front of my face. My mouth. I wrapped my lips softly around the head of his cock and worked my tongue around and around until finally inviting the entire length down my throat. I gagged for a bit, but devoured his mass over and over again. I felt it engorge violently and heard him moan loudly.
You've got to hold the mic up to your mouth when you're giggling. Please. We want background.
Our
giggles.
noises echoed through the otherwise quiet forest. As much as I wanted to make him come right there, directly down my throat, I wanted that seed inside a different orifice. Sorry, I lost my place. Inside a different orifice. Where's the word orifice?
It's in there a few times, I think.
Yeah, you're right, it is.
Same orifice?
No, different.
All the orifices are getting.
Oh,
filled
here
at
it is.
some
Okay.
point.
I stood back up and his strong arms pulled up my legs. I wrapped them around him and he shoved me against the tree as he teased my opening with the large head of his cock. He teased until it was unbearable and shoved his entire shaft into my womanhood with a preternatural effortlessness. He fiercely drove it in and out, over and over again as I loudly cried out in primordial screams. He grabbed my curly auburn locks and shoved my head to the side as he kissed and nibbled on my neck. I belted more cries of pleasure while hands well-versed in pleasing me squeezed my breasts and teased my raw, ripened nipples. I cried out in ecstasy as I experienced my first orgasm of the evening. He had not had enough of me and reached down and roughly spanked my bare ass. He let me down and knelt. Not kneeled.
Wait. Oh, did I have kneeled?
Yes. Tongue hit clit and minor rosebud exploration ensued. Did William Shatner write this? Like,
It's a satire. Keep going.
Tongue hit. Clit.
tongue
I-
hit
Clit.
clit
I wanted
and
to have
minor
a little,
rosebud
I wanted to have a
exploration
rhythm so you could
ensued.
hit clit, clit, clit.
Yeah, you
clit,
just wanted
clit,
to
clit,
make me
clit,
say that
clit.
word.
I just wanted to make you say.
Anyway. I felt his beard tickle my blushing, sensitive flower. As soon as his hand reached up to pull on my soft pink nipple, I exploded in delight and screamed so loud I heard a bird make a quick escape from the tree above me. He yanked me like a rag doll to the forest floor, gritty, abrasive dirt and poking twigs ground into my knees, and he began to violently take me from behind. As if I hadn't had enough, his massive length and girth filled me so ferociously I could barely breathe. His strong hand wrapped around my throat, exacerbating the situation. He flipped my body around once more, and green eyes met blue in a loving gaze. He gave me a soft peck of a kiss while he entered my slit once more, this time from the front. He laid himself down on the dirt and invited me to take the lead, since I was now sitting on him, clamping his abdomen with my thighs. My D-cup tits bounced quickly, and his hands grabbed my ass. I massaged his cock with my pussy, riding him up and down until I had a third orgasm. My pussy tightened so hard it nearly shoved his cock right out. But I continued to ride for a bit before descending back onto a skillful blowjob. After a few minutes of fast sucking and slow teasing, he pushed me onto my back. Hair matted against the bed of dead leaves, he shoved his pulsating hard cock into me one last time before releasing his seed deep inside. He lay next to me, wrapped his arms around me, and gently kissed me. We caught our breath. Lucas looked at me and said, "I love you, babe." It helps that you're so fucking hot.
He's such a meathead.
He moved his head back and took me in. "I love your gorgeous face," and he stopped. His post-coital glow faded quickly as fear overtook him. A branch with heavy, calloused bark and a small network of bipinnate leaves was moving quickly towards his face. I did not have time to see from where it came before it shoved directly into his eye socket and out the back of his head, splattering brain matter and blood. A second branch entered his abdomen and eviscerated him, entrails spilling from his previously powerful, hard, muscular abs. Something splashed in my eyes. The substance burned for a second, and then the pain metamorphosed.
It might be autocorrect.
Yeah, whatever. I can't read that word.
Just say it's metamorphosized or whatever it is.
Right.
Whatever it's supposed to be.
Changed into something pleasurable, causing me to twist in a lustful shiver. I would have screamed if I wasn't overcome with fascination, and oddly, my thrice sated lust only increased. I felt so turned on in an otherworldly way that I began to circle my nipples with the blood that splattered on my body. I reached my hand between my legs and massaged my clit as I felt another branch, this one, coming for me. It came out between my legs and entered my hole, with more girth, more ruggedness, and much more power than Lucas. I felt twigs spread up to my womb and fill the entirety of my tight tunnel of flesh. I felt leafy fingers massage every square inch of my tissue, which stimulated me so extremely that I couldn't utter a sound. Another branch wrapped around my throat and pinched my trachea and my carotid. Yeah, oh yeah, it does that. Carotid artery. I choked and gagged as I saw him step out from behind me, part man, part tree.
Please put the microphone up to him when he's laughing.
He was a gorgeous creature that was so fucking sexy, I could not think straight. Rather, I couldn't think at all. The tree man picked me up with extreme ease and spirited me away into the deep fairy tale woods, leaving poor Lucas's gaping corpse to await rigor mortis. My body was transported to the fairy realm, and my sensible brain, with its capacity for rational and critical thought, as well as the corpse of my dead lover, all remained behind on the mundane plane. I orgasmed for a fourth time as I gazed upon the exquisite form whose thick tree cock was still inserted in my wanting nether region.
There's a lot of blushing happening in the peanut gallery.
Something about tree cock.
Wait, it's almost over. I was laid on the bed of knotted roots. He came upon me all over, my body crippled by the sylvan shrapnel that pierced my every pore and orifice. Finally, he pulled out, wrecking my internal organs, and sprayed his hot, wet, sticky sap cum all over my face. I could see a star glitter through the canopy of trees before the light faded from my eyes entirely. Fiend. The end. Wow. That was a trip from start to finish.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I have questions for the author. I have questions about the author.
All right, I can answer questions that are for me.
She's just gonna blame it on being drunk.
Yeah, you know.
Yes, okay. To be fair, for no part of writing this was I sober in any capacity.
Sounds like you're making
Also-
excuses for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, is that what the tree will say later in court?
Well, maybe
She was drunk, Your Honor.
maybe you're seeing my deep innermost self, but I was drunk regardless. Ask away.
So you want a tree to fuck you?
No, I like tentacles better. Go
I
on.
was noticing the.
It's
What,
a little
tentacles?
I don't want a splintered gash. That was almost the name, but it gave too much away.
Splintered
excuse me.
gash.
That was a line in there.
Well, that just
I know, but like when
that
you
just sounds
said,
uncomfortable.
like when you,
For a metal band.
that would be a good name for a metal band. I agree. I concur.
Like a concept album.
I'm quite,
Oh,
yes.
the concept is this story.
So you're fucking a douchebag, and then he gets
No, he's not
eviscerated by a tree.
douchebag. The only reason she
And the first
Hold on,
thing,
hold
the
on,
first
hold
thing that
on.
happens
The
is
first thing he says.
No, it was
Three
twice
times
it
is
was
not
the dude,
that
and then
much.
Twice
That's
it was
not
the
that
tree.
That's
although
not
I
that
think
much.
once she may have
We
finished
both agree
herself.
that's not that much. You gotta be like
In one
six.
evening?
Like
I've made
6
myself
times.
comment.
I believe the number I was quoted was.
Let's go like
7.
6 to 8. All right, go on.
I'm just saying he's not a douchebag, but his first words are, "Babe, we don't have to wait until we're at the tent. Fuck me right here against this tree."
well, the way you're saying it makes it sound way worse.
That was just the voice that came to me.
Babe.
I mean, I don't.
It was probably just
We
the
don't
most
have to,
erotic
we
tree
don't have to go
nearby.
back to the campsite. Just fuck me right here against a tree. Like,
That's not less
You gotta be
douchey.
kind of. Oh, well, can one of you? Oh, you're all douchebags. Never mind.
Oh.
You know, we're gonna hold a vote at the end to see whose story was better. So you might be nicer to the peanut gallery because they're gonna be the ones voting.
Maybe they like being pushed around. All right.
That was a very decisive grunt that seemed to indicate otherwise.
There's a lot.
There was a lot said in
There's a lot
that
of
non-syllabic
communication in that
word.
non-verbal communication. Or is that's verbal?
That is verbal. It is
Yeah.
verbalized.
That non-language.
I swear you guys are trying to make me shoot beer out of my nose. That's like the fourth time this evening that I've like gone to take a sip and someone has said something.
The mixed drink pushed up a little bit, almost, but not quite. Didn't quite come out.
Like the tendrils
I
of the
believe that would
tree
also
filling
be
your womb.
nonverbal
It
communication.
filled every
You
orifice
almost
and
every
every
orifice.
pore.
Did your mixed drink?
Oh,
What?
they missed that.
You
What's
almost-
that? What's that word you said? Rohypnol?
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 Well, it
What's
was
that?
ejaculated,
It's the
but
thing the
if you
tree-
wanna go there,
It's the thing the tree shot on her in the first part after
That
it,
was
like,
tree
stabbed her.
sap.
Infused with
Yeah.
rohypnol.
Can you read that passage again where the tree just like, I don't know,
something splashed in my eyes.
Well, it stabs her
wait.
boyfriend in the face, right? And then
Well,
reviews
it pokes his eye out and shoots through the back of his head, and then there's just brain matter everywhere. It's just splat, like just.
Wait, which
blood
part
and-
do you want me to read?
It's
Would
just
you
blood
describe
and
this as a
gore and
skull
brain
fuck?
matter and skull pieces of skull. Everything.
No,
just
because it didn't
splattered
come
behind
into
it,
his
just
skull.
Disgusting gore.
No, like through.
Oh, the tree man isn't the fetish. The gore is the fetish. That's why
Yeah,
she gets so
that's why we
turned
have
on after she's like
questions.
rubbing the blood into her
came
nipples.
brains out of his top head.
Sexy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, drink up. So
whatever,
can I
man.
just
Whatever
say?
you feel
Be on
appropriate.
mic when you-
I just want to make one comment.
Just one?
It feels like the tree fucking is sort of tacked on almost as
No,
an
it's
afterthought.
It's because I meant to write another whole page,
And you didn't.
and I didn't quite get to that.
Yeah.
I added.
You were
a
like
little-
5 pages double spaced, and I was like, "Who the fuck writes double spaced?" And you were like, "I print
Okay,
it out
well,
and revise on it,"
this-
and you didn't.
Goblin over here was complaining about it not being double spaced for editing. The reason I double space is for editing.
Yeah,
so
but
that's
it's
how I
so
wrote it.
easy to write 5 pages double spaced. Like I could do that
Well, yeah.
in my sleep.
Well, all right.
Well,
Well,
what did you produce for us?
I think it's like 8 or 9 pages. Double spaced because that was specified. Yes, I produced it.
all right.
It's my production.
So should I read now?
No, you're reading the fucking plugs. Remember? That was the agreement. The
Okay.
agreement
All
was,
right.
and
I'll
you were
read the
like, I
plugs.
can read the plugs. I'm fucking
All right. Thank you for
Ophelia."
watching Between the Covers, Nyx. Please share, subscribe, and give us a 5-star review on iTunes. It really helps us out a ton.
So much.
Please give us a review.
Wait, hold on. Does that help?
Yeah.
Yes.
You got all the boobs. You got enough for both of us. So go ahead and
My
show
ear's
them off.
covered.
We want to get our podcast out there. We go live on YouTube every Friday at 8 p.m. or like tonight, 9:45 p.m. We're out on all major podcasting apps 2 days later. So Apple, Stitcher, are we on Stitcher? Whatever else
Podbean?
there is. Podbean, yeah. We're on all those in 2 days. So whatever 2 days. Sunday. We're on Sunday. Also, we need funds because someone has a lot of skill and ideas about a product line that I don't quite have the upfront investment for. I mean, that she doesn't quite have the upfront investment for. So we're working on a line. One of the co-hosts is actually a professional leathersmith. Is a Please check out the Bastard Network. Go like us on Facebook at facebook.com/The Bastard Network. That's in my mouth. It's already in my mouth. Go
enough.
like. No,
know if you
it's
have
the
these
microphone
things
I'm
on
talking about.
headphones on, then you would know what the volume levels are.
All right.
No, don't
I
put
don't
them
think
on.
I don't think it will fit over my ears and flower crown, but okay. No, I don't like it. I don't like it. It gives me anxiety. All right.
Just pretend like it's a tree cog. So your mouth will always
I
be
don't
right
actually
there.
like the tree cock. It was all a satire. I like tentacles.
I feel
and
like
Pretend
yeah,
like
you,
it's a
you
penis-headed
enjoyed
tentacle.
The
I like
viney bit. That
human
seems-
man, human.
Pretend like
humans.
it's a penis, and you want to suck it. Keep it that close to your face.
Pretend the microphone is a penis that I want to suck. There's a lot of eyes on me right now, and I feel very uncomfortable. If
Well,
there's
work
a
on your
penis I'm
technique.
sucking, I only want 2 other eyes on me. If
What if
the-
they wear glasses?
I am not
Would it be
into
4?
group sex, orgies, threesomes,
Exhibitionism?
It's good that
exhibitionism,
she's working with us.
voyeurism. I'm not into any of that crap. So, facebook.com/The Bastard Network. Other shows on the roster, besides Between the Covers podcast, include the What is that attitude that's coming from? All right, fine. Facebook.com/BastardNet. We
That
have
is kind
several
of
awesome
important.
It is, yeah.
Facebook. All right. Reel it in.
Yes.
Facebook.com/BastardNet.
Yes.
It should have been network because that was easier, but it's BastardNet, and you'll remember that now because I'm getting a lot of attitude. We have several awesome shows, including Between the Covers, Fridays at 8 p.m., the STC podcast, live on Sundays at 8 p.m., the STC, oh, I just read that, the
Yep.
Bastard Sermon,
kind
Don't-
of important.
Really, I'm trying to. The Bastard Sermon podcast out on Sundays as well. The Elliot from Boston podcast called the EFB podcast. What Would Jesus Do podcast. And Black Collar TV, a new one featuring several awesome mini shows. There are several more shows that will be coming on board in the next few months, so stay tuned and join in the conversations. We promise we are working hard to get merch out, which I already mentioned. So we need an investor for that. So maybe we should do a write up for an investor or something.
Maybe we should
There was
just
going
like
to be a proposal, but she hasn't written it yet.
Well, we should write up a proposal. Okay, well, listen.
yes.
We will write up a proposal, but if we're not being bitchy about some people's writing, then there's no ejaculation, there's no tree, limb, penetration at all in the proposal. It's purely about money. So we'll have Miss Business over here do that. Miss Business thing, do it. So
Stop.
all right.
Okay.
Now it's Miss Business's time for her story. Miss Decadence by Miss.
No, you're
Nyx.
saying it wrong. It's
Decadence.
decadent.
All right, I'll take another sip. Reel it in, meditate for a second, and then I'll say it.
Okay.
Sip. Reeling in. There's so many eyes on me right now. It's really frustrating.
You're talking. That's why.
Oh, okay.
Would you like us not to make eye contact while you speak?
Just look away, but keep the microphone on. Decadence.
Perfect. No.
Decadence.
No, it's soft and sensual and sibilant.
Decadence.
No, we're not death.
It's not death metal
screaming.
decadence?
Death it
Why
is.
did you take your headphone? Did I really disturb you? Oh, never mind. All right. Decadence.docx.
We'll wait for musical chairs to be over.
All right. Enough noise. Pay attention.
I don't know. Maybe you should just be more commanding. I don't think anybody really talked through my performance of your piece.
Sit down.
No, you should. Hey,
probably sit
you should sit down because you're blocking my camera, bitch.
Excuse me, sir. Can you please sit down?
Yeah, that's
You're
better.
in the way of
one
my
knows you're
concentration. You're in the way of my.
No one knows who you're talking about. I'm already sitting down.
It's true.
Well, whatever.
Just read the goddamn story.
I'm just gonna read the story, and I'm not looking at any of you. I'm looking at the camera the whole time.
That's right. Just eyes on the prize.
The sun hovered over the picturesque landscape, sinking slowly behind the austere mountains as the day came to its leisurely end. Sarah stood at the kitchen sink, watching the fiery montage of the sunset and smiling to herself. The red gold of the dying light, painting streaks of ruby in her dark hair. I told you should have printed it because this is too small for me to see.
You are so
Can you make the
needy.
font
Give
bigger?
me this.
Can you make the font bigger? I'm sorry. I have vision. Where are my glasses? I need my fairy glasses. Where are my fairy glasses? I swear I have fairy glasses. I got it. All right, we're good.
You know
We're
who
good.
else wears fairy glasses?
Fairies.
Wow.
Pixies?
Good guess.
Yeah.
Okay, I saved it as a note, so you should be able to.
You see fairies.
Okay. Let me start again. I apologize. I could not read those little tiny letters on the screen. The sun hovered over the picturesque landscape, sinking slowly behind the austere mountains as the day came to its leisurely end.
You can slow down too, you know.
Sarah stood at the kitchen sink, watching the fiery montage of the sunset and smiling to herself. The red gold of the dying light painting streaks of ruby in her dark hair. She inhaled deeply, eyes shuddered against the vibrant onslaught, and immediately stiffened with horror. Fuck! She swore, pulling herself from her reverie and rushing over to the oven. With a grimace, she pulled open the heavy cast-iron door, expecting to be engulfed in a cloud of smoke and burnt dreams. She was not disappointed. Well, she was, only because the soufflés she had worked so hard to prepare were utterly ruined. crisped and blackened edges and muddy sunken centers. Sarah pulled the ruined desserts from the charmingly old-fashioned oven and dumped them directly into the garbage. Also, a delightfully rustic touch, an old wine cask from the Champagne region.
It's champagne.
Champagne region. She was sorely irritated with herself. Not in the least because she had promised Carl the most decadent and mouth-watering treat of his life. And now it lay congealing in the trash. Pushing her hair back from her heart-shaped face, she racked her brain for some equally rich and delicious treat that she could prepare before Carl came back from his outdoor adventure, whatever that entailed.
He fucked a tree.
Struck by sudden inspiration, he did not fuck a tree. All right. Don't break my concentration. She opened the icebox. What was with this place? It was like they disdained any kind of modernity and checked for eggs. Satisfied, Sarah collected her ingredients and got to work. Carl's return to the cottage was less than the triumphal procession that he had so boldly predicted earlier that morning. Although there had been several fish, none had been above the limit, and after lunch, the whole group collectively bagged nothing, except, very narrowly, the advertising director's son. Oh, what? Hold on a second. All right. Still, the day had been a rousing excuse to stay outside, shoot rifles, enjoy the beauty of the mountains, jack off a little to each other, home manly circle jerk. Isn't that what hunting's all about? I just added that.
Yeah, I know you
Disdain.
did.
just forget. He
I
wondered
didn't
how.
add anything to your
Okay, well,
tree
I
fucking
can't
story.
resist my fucking tree fucking story. He wondered how Sarah had spent her time since his departure.
Oh, sorry. I didn't edit mine either.
Okay. Remembering how warm she'd been this morning. Her legs wrapped around him and her hair spread across his chest. He had been tempted to stay in bed. He called up to her as he paused by the door, removing his shoes. A boot scraper, an umbrella stand, and the rotary phone in its nook were all he could see. Most of the building was wrapped in silky darkness. A low light came from the far end of the hall. How did my hunter fare today? Her tone was teasing, but her voice was soft and inviting. He moved towards the kitchen. He stopped again for a moment when he stepped into the kitchen. It was lit by candles, reflecting off the polished wood and basking the woman. Sarah was radiant, her pale skin white, her hair her skin pale, while her hair glimmered around her. A dark wave shot through with fire where candlelit touched. Her lips were lusty red against the half-lit curve of her cheek, the soft white length of her neck. She beamed with pleasure at the sight of him and did a little twirl while holding a Venetian crystal wine glass filled with a thick, creamy souffle. As she turned gracefully, pale skin flashed out of the darkness at him, revealing quite a lot of pale skin, as she was clad only in a frilly white apron that hugged her waist and left her round, smooth bottom completely exposed. I hope you're hungry, she purred, as she stepped toward him, offering the glass to him as if it were the grail itself. With a gentle touch, she guided him to one of the primrose chairs and pushed him into it before slowly sliding a silver spoon alliteration from the small apron pocket
That's
he
kind of my
hadn't
thing.
noticed before. Carl's mouth watered and his eyes were as big as dinner plates. Probably the same Renaud Ali Royale pieces stowed in the decorative china cabinet. Don't correct me, I don't know how to say that. The Renaud Ali Royale pieces stowed in the decorative china cabinet behind them. As she swirled the spoon seductively through the thick mousse, producing a perfectly coiffed bite and waving it in front of him. Why don't you open your mouth for me? His cock rising. Carl's jaw practically dropped. Sarah leaned in, the apron not covering her breast. It framed them instead. Smooth, heavy curves restrained by strings stretched across them in tantalizing cleavage, stiffened into points where her nipples touched the fabric. Her hands closed, his mouth around the spoon, straightening as she did so, the magnificent breast almost grazing his cheek. His eyes rose back to her face, a wicked smile on her lips. Coquettishly, do you like it? Would you like a little more? He brought an arm up, feeling the smooth muscle of her leg, the tender round rump under his hand. Her eyes sparked like running water as Sarah looked down. She raised the spoon again, but as his lips parted, she drew it back and made a noise of pleasure, trilling at his look of supplication before she placed the morsel onto his tongue. It was overwhelming. The warm darkness of the evening, the sugary taste in his mouth, the delicious scent of Sarah's hair, and the satin feel of her skin brushing his. Carl grabbed hard and squeezed her tight against him, the hand on her hip climbing to her back. She bowed her neck, bringing their lips together. He parted hers with his tongue, a wetly passionate coupling made urgent by his sudden lust. She slipped away as he reached for her shoulders, took a step back just out of reach. With exaggerated care, she turned and placed the chalice of souffle, fully bending over. The candlelight played all over her, dim but not concealing. Sarah's pose was a careful display for Carl's benefit. Back taut and arms extended, legs together and the creamy contours of her ass exposed. He saw a cheeky pucker where the flesh met, dark fuzz and a drop of moisture where her legs met. Dark fuzz? Carl reached...
Not everybody shaves like a prepubescent teenager.
Carl reached for her. Whatever words he had planned rendered into a speechless grunt of lecherous desire. Sarah looked back over an alabaster shoulder and wiggled her perfect rear at him. The smile was truly wicked now. She winked. I was thinking. How about whipped cream? With a flourish, she presented a can of the aforementioned condiment, and Carl didn't even stop to think about where it came from. Sentence ended in a preposition. He nodded his head slowly, transfixed as he watched her bountiful bosom bounce with each horribly, wonderfully suggestive shake of the can. She bemused, noted his fixation, approaching him without missing a beat, the up and down joggling of the can, in no way accidentally mimicking the vigorous cock stroking. When she stood between his knees, she leaned forward, offering a fantastic view of her lush breasts, and cupped his chin in her soft hand. Now, open up, she chirped. And upon his acquiescence...
That wasn't very chirpy.
Okay. Now, open up, he chirped. Chirp, chirp, chirp.
That's even fucking worse.
What is chirping?
Like,
now, open up. Open up.
Open up.
She chirped.
Yeah. It's just like, light
Open
and
up.
playful.
And upon his
Chirpy.
acquiescence, she poked the nozzle into his waiting maw and sprayed it like a thick spurt of white cream upon his tongue. So that's what it feels like, she chuckled before ducking her head in and pressing her mouth to his. Her predatory tongue swooped in, sliding along and smearing his cream across both of their faces. Undeterred, she quickly deepened her kiss, the hand on his jaw creeping back to cup the nape of his neck, fingers curling into his thick hair. Her lips smiling against him, she teased him with her kisses, sucking gently on his tongue, nipping gently at his lips. After a few moments of sweet agony, However, Carl's impatience began to manifest. His hands wandered over her hips, sliding up her sides to cup her breasts, thumbs running across her aching, peaked nipples. The temptation of silky skin and velvety cream was drumming in his brain and rushing through his blood. Sarah could tell, of course, in the way a woman can. She pulled away laughingly, the cream trailing from her lips and smeared across her satiny cheek. Her dancing eyes took in the flush across Carl's face, his slightly panting breaths, the prominence of his erection. With a direct, almost challenging stare, she knelt before him, delicate fingers teasingly plucking at his belt until it unclasped. More deftly did her fingers assault the button and zipper, and with a tug silently demanded the removal of such offensive cover. Carl obligingly slid his jeans and boxers down off his hips, and with a look that was partially devilish and partially concupiscent, Sarah descended. Grasping the base of his cock, she sprayed a coronet of whipped cream atop the proud head. Smirking to herself, "Don't rest on your laurels," she teased, moments before her lips enclosed the throbbing tip of his cock. To suck him clean, the swirl of her tongue around the flared head, sparking pleasure and a flare of urgency in Carl's heated blood. He managed her name in a throaty murmur as a response, eyes half closed, mouth half open, with pleasure. Sarah's lips stayed closed around his cock, small contractions creating enormous sensations. He arched a leg almost involuntarily, but she brought her arm up, rested her elbow on his thigh. Sarah's eyes were wide as Carl sought her gaze, and she took her head slowly, her round features the picture of innocence, while her warm lips rotated around his engorged head. Soft fingers closed around his shaft as she began to stroke, a rhythm with the sucking pulses on his tip. The whipped cream traced a sticky line across his taut stomach. Her tongue traced a hungry line across his rigid cock. Sarah could easily see her preparation and technique were having the hoped-for effect on him. The way his legs tensed, his chest heaved, his breathing deepened, and the gentle sheen of perspiration shone across his flesh. All told her what he wanted more clearly than Carl himself could at the moment. The broad head of his penis filled her mouth, tip smooth as she circled her tongue against it, shaft hot and fleshy on her lips. The cream was a fading sweetness, knees bent, neck bent between his legs, mouth around him. She was the object of all his desires. She loved it. Carl was also in ecstasy, though of a less intellectual and more carnal kind, because Sarah's just so intellectual right now. The fingers of his right hand tightened in the luscious wave of Sarah's hair. A caress turned greedy. With his left, he half-heartedly pulled at his unbuttoned shirt, stopping to grasp at the furniture or empty air as Sarah's taunting lips twisted around the tip of his cock. Blood pounded his ears, rushed hot down his chest into his stomach, and then up his shaft to be quenched in the wet heave of Sarah's mouth. His whole body throbbed. His grip at the nape of her neck relaxing, Carl softly pushed Sarah's hair back where it lay across her face. He took in the sight with pleasure. Her gentle features and pale skin in the dark contrasted against the stiffness and heat of his cock. As he watched, a tiny trickle of white escaped the corner of Sarah's mouth. The last of the cream dripped down his shaft and over her fingers. Carl wasn't ready to come yet, and when he did, it would certainly be more than a few drops. But the similarity aroused him to greater anticipation, even as Sarah lustfully fulfilled his desires. He gently tried to slide himself further into her mouth, but she pulled herself off instead with a final slurping suck. Now she paused to admire him. His broad chest and leanly muscled stomach rose and fell with his heavy breathing. His erection rose massively between his legs in front of her, head shiny and wet, a dollop of cream at the base. Sarah's tongue flicked out, a cleaning, teasing lick from bottom to top, a silver thread of saliva bridging tip to tongue. She continued to stroke him, however, hands not missing a moment as her mouth moved back. "Take that off," she grinned, gesturing at the partially discarded shirt. As she did, the canister of whipped cream clacked. Thoughtfully, she shook it with one hand, jerked with the other. The mischief glinted in her eye again as Carl struggled free. "You look hungry," she commented, almost nonchalantly. As he struggled to tear his arms from the cloth prison of what had once been a rather nice shirt. It hit the charmingly rustic tiled floor with a wet thud, brought to you by sweat and lust. Another clack, clack, clack of the canister being shaken suggestively made his pulse throb through his cock as it strained eagerly towards her silken flesh. Yeah, a mouth was great, especially Sarah's, but the thought of burying his quivering shaft into the velvety heat of her feminine target was the most prevalent thing in his primordial mind. With an animalistic growl, he grabbed her wrist, pulling her toward him with a gentle tug. Her eyes flashed in response to his action, but she acquiesced readily enough, straddling his lap. He could feel the warmth of her pressing against his hungry shaft through the thin lace of the apron, and he impatiently pulled at the frilly fabric, sliding it up her smooth thighs and exposing her delicate flower at him. Carl bit his lip as she watched him, not impassively, but almost skeptically, using his index finger to gently part her petals and brush lightly against her moist folds. She shuddered.
You're
then.
gonna make that face when you wrote about some dude getting fucking skull fucked by a tree branch?
I like violence. She shuddered then, eyes half closing as a sigh gently escaped from her pouting lips, angling her hips up to allow him greater access. Greedily, he slipped his finger into her tight cave as his lips eagerly sought to latch onto the tantalizing peak of her left nipple. Brushing his tongue across the apron's gossamer texture, he sucked gently, feeling her nipple harden as his body jerked. Oh, feeling her nipple harden, and he body jerk. Oh, and he body jerk. As
Probably
her back
as.
arched into his attentions. Plunging another finger into her drenched pussy, he let the rhythm of his suckling play against her efforts to rock against him. With each lick, he stroked her inner depths, having her, literally, wrapped around his finger. His cock strained in protest, eager to do its part, but he ignored it for the moment, content to watch her writhe and moan with the pleasure he was coaxing from her pliant body. He could deny himself only for so long. The feel of Sarah's heaving body on top of him, her nipple receptively hard in his mouth, the small utterances she couldn't contain, and he was overcome with desire. He wanted her now. His hand retreating. I want her now. His hand retreating to the tender skin on the inside of her thigh. Carl swung her leg wide with the push of his thumb. Plucking the apron free at last, nothing lay between his throbbing prick and the tender crevice he meant to enter. Closing himself against her, he filled her soaking cunt with a single sharp thrust. Sarah cried out with pleasure at the sudden intrusion, while Carl let out the sibilant noise of satisfaction. He drew his hips back, relishing the slick tightness, sliding the length of his shaft. Sarah's silky grip trailed ever so slightly, a ring of delicate pink flesh suctioned around Carl's engorged, reddened rod as he pulled himself outward. She let loose a low, throaty noise, and clawing at his shoulder, impaled herself back down. Reveling in the sensation of having him entirely inside her, she wrapped her arms and legs tighter around Carl, and he leaned on his muscled chest, moaning slightly. He was rapturous as Sarah rode up and down, penetrating herself on him. Her breast swayed, breast heavy against him, then caressing, sliding away. Each time her aroused nipples brushed against him, he felt an almost electric thrill, inspiring him to thrust deeper and harder into her. The candles had almost gone out, and Carl could barely see anything past his woman in the dark. They were both covered in a sheen of sweat, Sarah's round face and pale skin catching the light. It pooled and swirled in her hair, splashed over her shoulders and hips. She was practically radiant as they fucked, her primitive lust growing instead of abating. Carl's strokes were becoming frenzy, sloppy thrusts, and the sodden sucking, slapping sounds of their coupling carried over Carl's grunts and Sarah's recurring moans of agonized pleasure. Her hands fell to her hips and grabbed hard, finger-seeking purchase as he buried himself quicker and more forcefully into her wetly receptive folds.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I had to burp, sorry. Into her wetly receptive folds.
Word.
Sarah moaned louder and lost herself in the luster of frenzy as Carl roughly fucked her slavering cunt. Their sweat slick skin slide. There's a lot of S alliteration. Her sweat slick skin sliding together and colliding in hungry harmony as sound like a snake. Her rapacious pussy sucked him in with each powerful thrust, and the base of his cock massaged her dewy bud with a delicious pressure that grew with each smack of flesh upon flesh. An electric pulse began to throb deep inside her, starting as a tingling inside the pit of her stomach and slowly spreading through her torso and to her extremities. A feral groan from Carl was the tipping point, as his cock leapt and jerked fitfully, and she ground herself against him in an agony of pleasure as her cunt pulsed around his shaft. Her eyes glazed over as her lithe body writhed in Carl's grip.
Her what?
Lithe.
Lithe?
Lithe body writhed. Lithe body writhed. I thought it was lithe.
It's
Lithe?
Lithe? Because lithe and writhe go together. And that's
I
the
thought
whole
it was
point.
lithe, but lithe body writhed in Carl's grip. He clutched her to his chest, using her as a living cock sleeve, stroking her up and down, his volatile length. Gritting his teeth, he felt the familiar tug starting in his balls that signified the end. With the moan of release, his cock erupted, the tip kissing Sarah's cervix and flooding it with his roiling seed. Her moans reached a crescendo as his pulsing cock stroked her throbbing walls, painting her innards hoary with them sticky cum. Her breathing quickened, her nails scoring fine red lines across his back, and they dissolved together in coital bliss. After the aftershocks died down, Sarah leaned back to look down into Carl's dreamy eyes. I can't believe I forgot the raspberries, she smiled. Carl tried to rouse himself to some semblance of interest, though his lids dropped with weariness.
I'm sorry, his lids what?
Drooped with weariness. What? Oh. Never mind, she chuckled, before snuggling into the crook of his arm.
The end.
Well, that was steamy.
All right, you told me to do a Norwegian accent for him, but he doesn't talk. He says what?
You did make Sarah sound a little vapid.
I know, she was not supposed to sound that stupid. She's like, oh, do you want some whipped cream?
Oh, I forgot the raspberries. I'm special.
I've been thinking about cooking this whole time.
Sarah's touched.
She's not.
Sarah sounds touched.
Only when you read
Heavy
her.
petted, maybe.
Heavily petted.
Maybe Sarah's touched by lust, and she is just, her brain's just gone.
I mean, that was a pretty good fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, just saying. Better than being fucked by a tree penis.
That was satire. And I like violence.
See, we just sort of missed each other on the communication of what kind of
But
stories we were
yours
writing.
is serious.
Right. Because I thought we were supposed to be writing, like...
But the audience wants humor. They want ridiculous.
But hold on. This whole
They
time,
want
we've been
drama.
reading these terrible romance novels and saying we could write a better one.
Okay, well, what happened
So
was...
happened was...
Listen... What's that word
You
from one of the stories we read?
fucking
I
Ophelia.
did
Alright.
notice you both used primordial and seed.
And...
Well,
Wait,
you
there was
use
one other
seed
thing.
a lot.
I like the word seed.
So, listen, what's the word from the Lux one? No, wait. It was the other. Oh, it's like cow. What's the word?
Heifer?
Listen, heifer. All right. What happened was...
No, it's
we
what
said-
happened was...
What happened was...
There you go.
We said we can write a better romance,
Yeah.
right? Because they're so horribly written. We can write one better.
Yeah.
I went to start writing one. Couldn't do it. I'm deep into this very serious sci-fi, heavily researched
See,
novel
that's
now
why-
because of it, and I still can't write romance. So I went to write it, and I was like, I'm just gonna make this funny.
But see, if we want, we could write a sci-fi romance, and you write the sci-fi parts, and I'll write the romance
Deal.
parts.
Fine, my sci-fi
Shake
that I'm
on
all
it.
right, we'll
Wait,
shake
hold
on.
on. Cool. It's on both cameras.
My sci-fi I'm working on. I'm doing the scientific research.
I'm writing the smut.
And okay, you can write the smut part. We'll have to
About
get to this-
exploding
My
cocks
character
and
is currently
cock
not
slits,
quite-
kissing cervixes.
She's not quite old enough for cervix kisses, but we'll get to that point. She'll age up. So,
Toxics kisses?
although she's
No,
Cossacks
no, no.
kisses,
Cock,
that sounds
it's cock slits, kissing cervixes.
not Cossacks, cock slit.
Cossacks.
That's quite the tongue twister.
You're Cossacks.
Do you know what a Cossack is? It's like one of the
And a dance.
Okay, I'm saying Cossacks is your tailbone.
Coccyx. Coccyx.
I don't know.
It's
Cossacks.
No. It's
Cock-
Cossack cock slits.
Coccyx.
Yes, that's correct. Your tailbone. That's what you're talking about. Your coccyx.
Do you know why I really like anatomy? Coccyx. Awesome.
I'm confused.
That was terrible.
Shh. I got that from a book in middle school or something. So. Did you just spit all over yourself? It's a first for Nyx. She's a hot mess officially. All right, peanut gallery, goblin scorch,
Blastula.
blastula.
Empty
What is
circle
that
of
noise?
cells.
What is this noise happening right now?
I have beer all over my face.
All right, beer face, blastula, scorch, goblin. What do you think of decadent? Decadence.
Yeah, what do you think?
The whipped cream romance scene.
Steamy.
Was the story better? It was better written, but was the story better?
I did have strong characterization of Lucas. I didn't
Why
like
would-
him, but I was aware of his personality.
He's kind of meatheady. It didn't
Babe,
he
why
was-
don't we just fuck on this tray?
The tree itself had
He's
no
about to
character
die
development.
anyway, so whatever.
Yeah, but the
Scorch?
audience doesn't know that at first.
They don't. It's a twist. Scorch, why is
M.
her
Night
story
Shyamalan Ding
better?
Dong.
Because there's not a lot of story.
Yeah,
It's
Goblin,
literally
give
just
Scorch
a
the
sex
mic so he
scene
can...
with whipped cream.
The sex writing was better.
Yeah, but the
I got
story
way
is
more
the
of a
story
way
better?
more of a chub. Yours was okay at first, but I gotta agree with Nyx that it just kind of felt like the tree part was tacked on,
Okay,
and
well,
I kind
it
of
was
was
an
like,
erotic
what the
piece, so
fuck?
it's not for everyone.
Yeah, but I don't know. Your erotic parts weren't as tantalizing.
That might be the harshest
I
thing
was-
I've ever heard.
I was...
Also, there was less alliteration.
Dude, alliteration is
Yeah, but you
kind of
did-
my thing.
You did a lot of alliteration, but you did a lot of S-alliteration.
I love...
That's what sibilant means.
I did
Sibilant.
Sibilant.
I did a
Boner check during both stories, and stronger bones during Nyx's story.
Well,
so.
how do we know it wasn't because of my voice and not and her versus her voice?
because
My voice was a maze.
silly.
What?
Your voice actually detracted from the sensualness of Nyx's story.
Yeah,
Shut
you
up.
should let me read my own story. and
Oh, I
I'll
was thinking-
Fine.
sex it up.
Now
was
we'll
thinking
read our
Scorch was
own story.
volunteering.
Okay, fine.
So you were just trying to be a cornball the whole time.
My boyfriend Luke, I can't use that word. That
Are
name.
you guys gonna read your favorite parts now?
Yes, can I read my favorite parts of my own story?
Absolutely.
Or should we read our favorite parts of each other's?
I already
Absolutely.
said my favorite
Now they're
part.
meant to be read.
Okay. I'll find my
Wait,
favorite
Well, I
part.
wasn't paying
With a hand
attention,
down
so I'm
your
gonna have to
pants?
read that over again.
What about a thorn in your jugular?
Go home, Scorch.
He is home.
Oh, never mind.
Go to your box.
Go to your box.
Go to your
This
cage.
is his box.
Lock him in.
Okay, hold on. Actually, can I just say, even though this is super vain because I wrote this story for the most part, I just want to say I really enjoyed the slight comedic interjections about the fucking decor of the house that they were in. Like, hold on, let's see.
I think it kind of.
Did you have a time frame for this?
I want to say it's like mid to late 80s before the like technological craze really took over.
I don't know about the interjections. Kind of, I think, killed the mood a little bit. Like it was a distraction. It was
They
too
made
much
me
of a
laugh. They made me
distraction.
giggle, but
You
they
don't
didn't
find
detract from.
Rotary phones and fine china erotic?
I thought they were going to an old cabin that wasn't updated. It was some
Yeah,
old
that's
people lived there.
exactly.
But they're happening now. But they're
they
going to
were
a
in a cabin?
cabin from
No, it was more like a cottage.
Cockage.
cabin. Well, my people were camping in a tent.
Wait, hold on. Let me find.
A tent is much sexier than a cottage.
Fuck you. No, it's not.
Cottage for old people.
I'd rather fuck in a cottage than a tent. I've
I-
fucked in plenty of tents, and it is not glamorous. Okay.
What's wrong with tents?
First of all, like you're not in control of the surface. That you're
Second of
fucking
all, the
on.
bears can totally hear you.
Yeah, they can. And if you get fucked a little too hard and you're bleeding, well, good
Wait.
luck.
What? Hold on a second. This is gonna need an explanation. When do you bleed? Is this anal stuff? 'Cause I'm
After
not
the
into
tree
that.
penetrates your eye.
Okay,
After the tree
all right,
eviscerates
he
your
bleeds in
fucking
my
boyfriend.
story. You don't bleed from normal.
You're probably not going hard enough then.
Yeah, maybe you don't.
Never mind. I don't want to know the answer to that.
I'm kind of curious.
I know.
What?
I don't want to know the answer.
We fuck hard. That's the answer.
Don't want to know the answer.
Hard fucking.
I don't want to hear about you guys fucking.
I don't want to hear
I'll
about us
read the
fucking
story.
either.
Oh.
No. Oh, God damn it. Let's see.
Oh yeah, like the sex scene in Hellraiser.
What's that?
You see, Clive Barker was a major inspiration to my writing. He was my favorite author. I should talk in the microphone. Clive Barker was a major inspiration to me. That's why the violence comes through. He wrote The Hellbound Heart that Hellraiser is based off of. That was a favorite book of mine. That's why I get violent when I think of sexual. When I'm trying to write something sexual, I get to violence. So you can blame Clive Barker.
I mean, it's definitely not his fault.
Not his fault.
Okay, hold on.
It's his fault.
I'm just gonna chime in here. So where I wrote the line, Carl's mouth watered and his eyes were as big as dinner plates. Probably the same Renaud Aye Royale pieces stood in the decorative china cabinet behind.
You couldn't
them.
even say it. All right, I think I said it better.
I just looked up a fucking fancy china maker and wrote the name in.
You didn't say Oneida or something, whatever the
I
ones
don't
you.
care. No, it's
Corel.
Wedgwood. It's Wedgwood. That's the
Corel.
like really fucking expensive one. But I didn't think there would be Wedgwood pieces in a rentable cabin somewhere.
No, people would take those.
Yeah, for sure. But it's just like I don't know.
Oh.
Like I enjoy those little pieces, like those little snapshots of like what bring you like closer to the setting of
My
like, the piece.
Planet Earth Blu-ray is from a rental house.
You bitch! You stole Planet Earth from some like.
I do sometimes take a book and leave a book.
I'm a little bit.
Here. You can
What's
have
the
this
word? I like the 5-finger
Touched?
discount.
Touchy.
All of my
Sticky
silverware
fingers.
are from.
Hey, dude!
all of
If
my
it's
silverware
free
is from
99,
Longhorn Steakhouse. Free 99.
I did notice you were both very specific about some things. The first story.
Put the microphone to your mouth, Goblin. We can't
Excuse
hear
me.
you. I mean, our listeners that totally exist can't hear you.
Both of them.
all three
Both
of them.
Of them.
Two of them are in this room right now.
So the other one is listening right now.
Thank you. You know
and
who you
that
are.
person can't hear you. So put it near your mouth.
Okay. I
Pretend
was
it's a
was
big
just gonna
cock
say
that
I
you
felt
wanna
that you were
suck.
both same advice as always. Then.
All right, so come on.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
You were both oddly specific about some things that I personally didn't consider to be necessarily the most, I don't know,
Are you
prurient
talking about
details.
nipples? Because
No. I wouldn't.
No,
go
I
ahead,
enjoyed
go
hearing
ahead.
about the nipples.
Right. Of course you would. But
So what is it?
Yeah. No. Go on. We're curious.
Well, I mean, you were very specific about the setting. The first story, we were very specific about the height and weight of everybody involved, which I guess seems relevant.
You're
but-
saying my story?
Yes. That's
I
what he
didn't say.
said.
Both
I only
stories.
said one height.
It's like
Yeah, but it
He's
was like a
6'4"?
very.
It
You were
was
like
oddly
his
specific.
6'4"
Because I wanted
frame
to reflect that he's 6'4", which
You
I
know,
just
with a
threw-
9-inch
No
cock.
way.
It's a made-up
You know,
number.
did the tree that they boned
He looked up
against
at
have like some
6'4", and
family's
that-
ages?
And I don't really know what the proper
this year,
length
Billy
because I
was 6
really
feet
I don't
tall.
have one. I haven't really measured any. Is 9 big? Like I don't know. Should I
Yes.
have done a bigger number? Okay.
No,
9 is a good number.
9's a little.
That's
Nine's
like hit
stretching
the wall
it.
kind of.
Yes, 9
Hey-o.
would be. Yeah,
9 stretching it.
he gets it. He gets it.
Yeah, he does.
Wait, what?
Nothing.
Wait, is that no? Because I really don't know.
Really.
6 is like an average. So 9 is
6?
Did
5
you-
to 6 is
Average?
average.
Did you have like a circumference in
I
mind?
don't think
No,
I've.
You know what? 5 is the average. 9
I
is
don't-
pretty astounding.
5 is average. I don't think I've ever seen 5. Oh.
Well, like
Yeah, you're lying.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I am
Then you fucked 3 dudes, and they
not
just
lying.
miraculously all had huge dicks.
bullshit.
Although I
6
do
has
have a
never
talent
bled
for
before.
seeking out large dick.
I mean, I feel
individuals
like
as
we
well.
should applaud that rather than.
I mean, I've definitely seen
Good
5
job.
inches, but
Yeah, wait. Do you think shorter ones are?
But I
better
don't hook
or
up with
longer?
people, so it's always serious. So.
wait,
It's a
but
little
how
different.
girthy? Like, are they girthy?
Oh,
then?
they're girthy.
nice.
So shut up. She asked.
Hey,
Okay.
it's not my fault.
You were
girth is a funny
screeching.
word.
I am shrill.
Stop
My dad told me I
screeching.
was shrill when I
You-
was
he
younger.
was right.
They have a microphone. You don't need to scream.
She's getting excited.
I'm getting mad. Go on.
And it's ringing.
Last
Anyway-
week you teach us she's a screamer.
Wait, hold on. Yeah, we know.
Goblin, we
all
need the
know.
review. Go on.
Yeah, Goblin, go on. What about my piece that you thought I mentioned unnecessarily?
Oh, I was just commenting that you clearly enjoyed the background detail.
I do.
I might not have been as interested in the China.
No, I was just making the joke because like his eyes were as big as dinner plates, and like I'd made the joke several times that the place was like a little too charmingly rustic. So I was like, oh, let's throw in some like
They couldn't see the parentheses or the quotation marks that I tried to.
right. That's why inflection is important when
Right,
you read a
yeah.
story, because I offered quite a bit of varying tones and inflections when I wrote yours. Rode.
Like
Reg.
the tree.
Wow. That was a bit of a Freudian slip. When I read your story,
When I wrote your story.
when I
I'm
read,
gonna ride your story in the woods and into the tree man. So I didn't write the fairyland part yet, but
no one wants to
give
know
me that.
about the
I need
Fairyland.
to rewrite it. I usually rewrite everything.
Stop throwing her books on
I
the
usually
ground.
type it
Never.
out, stream of consciousness, hand write it out, and then type it back out again. 3
That sounds
times.
like an incredible waste of time.
That's what I do, but that's just the first step.
It's
So can I have it
tactile, and
back?
I understand the desire to
Can
like
you please?
reformat
I don't really
a few
want
times.
that floating around in your house. There's a lot of. It's
I'm gonna
heavily,
take pictures of it
there's-
and put it up on the
There's
internet.
heavy foot traffic. You
Gonna
have
post
the
it on-
actual copy of it online. I emailed it to you.
But without Goblin's corrections.
Goblin did not correct the whole thing. I need more edits.
He just underlined a couple of things and wrote awkward.
He wrote AWK like a
was
ninth grade
amazing.
English teacher. Thanks.
I know, it was my favorite part of the whole thing. I got distracted a couple of times because I was
Asshole.
like,
I would have done the little P with
Aw.
the double slash when I got to the big
yes,
part, but-
dude. Oh, I wish you'd had more paragraph indentations on yours.
I didn't have a tab button on my iPhone.
Enter space.
Okay, well, I
5
did-
spaces is technically considered a
did
tab
that.
over.
But
Really?
I don't
I feel like
trust
this is
the
teaching
tab
us
button.
more about your writing
No,
style.
some of it I wrote-
than the
all right,
Look, this is great, and
I
then
did
we
those
just
on the
have
comp-
this that's
I
like,
did-
blah, 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 and then I can't.
The beginning I did on a computer.
I can't.
I lost my ear. Hold on.
Did you want this?
Look
one?
how over it Scorch looks. It's great.
Scorch.
He's just jealous he didn't fuck a tree.
Scorch, if you like trees so much, go outside.
So I'm curious, is your ultimate fantasy just the Kool-Aid man with tentacles?
No!
Like,
This is none of this is fantasy. Fantasy for me is vanilla. You know what fantasy for me is? A guy
Bullshit.
that will hug me.
Bullshit. Well, like your
My-
boyfriend that lives in Canada?
My made up. Sorry, my boyfriend in Canada that totally exists.
Right.
Yeah, I just want a hug.
I'm calling
My fantasy
so much bullshit on
is
that.
someone that's nice
so
to
much
me.
bullshit.
So why is
No
there
girl wants a guy who's nice to her all the time.
feel
nice
like
to
you
me outside the bedroom?
Oh, what's that?
I don't know.
I feel like
When
you
they're
bite.
nice, I like
Me?
compliments.
Oh, her.
What?
I
What
definitely
did you say?
do.
What did you say?
He says
I
he
don't
feels
like butt stuff. No,
no,
one's
no,
touching that.
no. That's
is
not what he
wrong with
said.
you?
That's not what he said.
What did you say?
He said he felt like you bite.
I don't bite. No, that's like from middle schoolers, isn't it? I don't know. I
What?
was.
No. Biting is cool. I like to bite.
To bite? No, I don't bite. No. I mean,
We do this.
if someone.
You have small teeth. They probably aren't
Thanks.
that effective.
I had braces. I'm also.
I mean,
missing,
I had braces too.
I'm missing 4 adult molars and wisdom teeth. I have 3 baby molars still, and one's removed.
Oh my god.
It's $4,000 for
Sweeney
an
Todd.
It's $4,000 for an implant. If you give me $4,000, I'll replace my missing tooth.
That's like more of one of my paychecks than I'd care to fork over, but thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
I love you, girl, but not enough to pay
I
for
need
your
a
teeth.
tooth.
You should just get wooden
Go to
teeth.
betweenthecoverspodcast.com slash
George Washington.
betweenthecoverspodcast.com slash what's that website that gives you money?
Patreon.
GoFundMe,
Go f-
Patreon,
GoFundMe.
and pay for
Go
Ophelia's
fund
tooth.
Marie. Marie needs teeth.
Marie needs teeth.
We have some lovely product lines and some fake teeth.
I would love a fake tooth if you could. Any dentists that are watching? Maybe one of our 29 watchers is a dentist. Give me a tooth. I'll
Oh,
travel.
no, you
I'll
make
travel
up
for
on
tooth.
Will travel for tooth. Will write horrible tree smut for tooth.
Yeah, exactly. As long as it's less than $4,000, we'll travel for tooth.
Get like a specialized kind of tooth that's sort of hollow, so you can inject some sort of like aphrodisiac into people.
I don't
That'd be
bite.
worth it. Well,
Yeah, no.
maybe you
Well, it
should.
would be wasted on her.
I'm
I'll take the injectable aphrodisiac
I-
tooth.
if someone asked me, yeah, I'd bite, but like I don't think of doing that. You're
Bite.
gonna mark.
You can call it the sensuous venomous indenture.
Bite.
What am I biting? What am I biting?
Bite.
I'm not a vampire.
Here, bite the
Yeah.
scar. It won't feel anything.
I think I am.
That's weak as shit, girl.
I don't want to hurt. I don't want to hurt you. And I don't want to mess up my lip gloss.
I tried. That's
There-
my
there's
lip
the
gloss,
real-
I
bitch.
don't want to mess up your lip gloss that I'm wearing.
Okay. Now so what? We took like we took a poll and Scorch said Nyx's story. What did Goblin say?
Also Nyx's story.
Nyx's story.
You
Nyx's
bastard!
story!
I'm
I
gonna
was-
beat all of you up after.
I was
Yeah,
curious to
the
hear,
shit. Wait, can we,
Nyx's
like-
favorite parts of the stories. However,
Oh, all the parts where I described the like rustic setting.
Okay, well, someone did.
Oh wait, hold on. And there's one other.
Someone didn't tell me it was supposed to be serious.
Someone didn't
I'm-
tell me it wasn't supposed to be serious.
So we didn't communicate properly. My serious story is the sci-fi, so we'll work on that.
We'll work on that. Yeah.
It's much better.
Is it?
It really is. It's because it's actually took effort, and I was sober.
Well, wait.
reading.
If I could write one that's like in my favorite time period, I would write like a Renaissance one, and it would be better.
A period piece?
No, it wouldn't be better. It would be different. I do love no periods. We're not gonna do that.
Not
That's fucking
that
gross.
period. The period in time. It's not that gross.
I just like the part
It's
where
natural. It's just part of life.
feels like a Carmen
It-
I like the part where he paints her innards hoary.
Ready to bleed? Ready to bleed?
That's my
ready
favorite
to
part.
breed. What?
I said I like the part where his hormones reached a crescendo as his pulsing cock stroked her throbbing walls, painting her innards hoary with his sticky cum. That's my favorite.
I like sticky because it's gross. I
Yeah.
like the gross stuff.
Wait, hoary's not gross to you?
It's sticky is more gross. It's more like childlike. There's something just wrong about sticky, like moist.
I
too.
like
a lot of people
sticky.
freak out about moist.
I don't care about moist. I like moist. I like sticky.
Moist.
I like sloppy.
Sloppy, sticky, moist.
Slavering.
Sloppy, sticky, moist.
Slavering is one of my
Slavering,
favorites.
sloppy, sticky, sloppy, sticky, slavering.
I really don't think that
S.
people use that as enough in like
S, S,
romance
S.
novels. I know I'm obsessed with S.
If you're obsessed with S, have you ever had a neurologist give you a test? One of the tests is they name a letter and you have to name as many words as you can.
oh, I
under
would be
that letter.
so good at that, dude.
It's so fun.
Like-
and it's always F, S. What are the
Oh,
other
I could
letters?
be really good
It's
at this.
so great.
It's
yeah.
not pass fail.
No, but I would be really good at it anyway.
I was pretty good at it.
I could be better. I have more S words
There's
in my
not a lot of
vocabulary.
neurologists around.
S in my arsenal. Anyway. Scorch has given us the old what for, so we should probably wrap this
What
shit up.
is he giving us?
The what for?
What's that mean?
It means just stop.
Why? I don't just need a.
No, it's fine. I need another beer anyway. I'm out. I've been out for a while. It's very upsetting. So
That is disgusting.
Scorch, get her a
Um,
beer.
no,
What are we doing?
we're
You guys want to do plugs again?
no. No, it's my turn to do plugs.
Whose plugs did you
what-
think were better?
Oh, next week. Guess
Next
what
week?
came
Oh
out?
my god, yes!
Shelley
Next week-
Lawrenceston,
Yes.
part two of the Badgers,
Honey Badger
Honey
Chronicles.
Badger Chronicles, in a Badger way.
In a Badger way. We're reading it next week.
Excuse
it's gonna
me,
be
Scorch.
the
Where is
shit.
the cover art?
Oh, he doesn't
Scorch,
care.
where is
Don't
the
let,
cover?
Don't leave. Just leave him
Scorch!
alone. Leave
It
him
has.
alone.
All right, I'll describe it. It's
Okay.
a panda.
Yeah, because she fucks a panda.
It's
We all know
it's
that.
Totally the panda.
I know. And he's like totally like a sweet, unassuming kind of guy who's gonna get roped into the crazy world of the honey badgers. And
How
it's
can
gonna be
she
great.
respect a
She doesn't.
man
She
like
just
that?
fucks him. It's fine.
You can't respect.
We'll figure it out.
How can
we'll
you
find
fuck
out.
a man? Fucked.
I mean,
Fucked
sure,
a
she
man.
fucks a
I
panda,
added an
but did he
extra
kill
letter
a
in that.
man
How can you
first?
fuck a man
He
you
might
don't
have.
respect?
He's a bodyguard by
Oh,
by
okay.
trade.
So he's strong, but he's like a.
He's strong but silent. And he
I'm-
probably like
I'm picturing just a
wait,
fat
but he eats
panda
bamboo
man.
all the time. Remember, like in the last book, he was always like chewing on
Does
bamboo.
bamboo have a lot of protein in it?
No,
You know, memna is bamboo, and it's in ramen, and it's got this
is she
protein.
having a stroke right now?
It's got this protein kind of taste to it that's like, it's actually pretty good.
I'll check that out.
You've never had
Actually,
bamboo
What,
shoots and
what did you
ramen?
say your
I
favorite
have.
protein flavor was?
meat.
Go home.
Cum. What?
Filet mignon is my favorite.
Filet mignon.
Filet mignon. Je parle français.
No,
Okay.
you don't.
Je parle français un peu.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand it pretty well.
No,
I can read it.
No, you can't. You could probably read it better
Oui.
than you can understand it.
I can.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Me too.
Say something.
Why?
Because it's a test. You're saying, you can't understand it. You don't know. I took French for 8 years.
I took French for 9 years, and that doesn't mean I speak
okay.
a lick of French.
I went to Montreal. over the summer.
No, I went to Paris in the fall.
Sorry,
La-di-da.
I don't have rich parents.
Yeah.
All right, go on.
I mean, what do you want me to say?
Well, you can't have hers.
Yeah, they're mine. You can't have them. Okay, thank you guys for watching this really special podcast. We appreciate your patronage. Please continue to
patience.
tone.
We're gonna lose viewers.
I'm sorry. Thank you for watching this extra racy
You
episode.
could say special different.
No, that also sounds retarded.
They don't actually sound like that.
Thank you for watching this treat of an episode.
Some of them sound
Oh,
normal.
wait.
Oh.
Thank you for watching this lanyap of an episode.
What?
What up? Lagniappe. Lanyap. It's a word. Look it up. Motherfuckers, I probably spelled it wrong. Don't look that up, but look up the word lanyap. Anyway,
I can't
thank
look it
you
up
so
if you
much
spell
for
it wrong.
watching it. Lagniappe.
L-A-G-N-I-A-P-P-E. Lanya. Lanya?
Motherfuckers, I told you.
Just cut to the music, Scorch! Do you not understand my nonverbal communication?
We have to get from eternal excess time.